And Texas Republican Mike McCaul, chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee and House Foreign Affairs Committee member. Michael McCaul, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Bill.
Tell us why this happened. Why did Kim do this?
Well, I think this maximum pressure campaign obviously is working. The president's negotiating out of strength and not out of weakness, as we saw the previous administration. And I know Mike Pompeo very well. He's a colleague of mine in the House. We traveled overseas several times to the Middle East. I've seen him in his diplomatic capacity. I think he probably laid the predicate to say, look, if you want this meeting, you want this summit, you're going to have to show some good faith here. And I think the first place to start is to release these American hostages, these prisoners, return them to the United States.
I was quite struck by what one of the North Korean officials told Mike Pompeo as it was reported to us. Here's the quote now. "You should make care that they do not make the same mistakes again," talking about these three men. "This was a hard decision." And if we think North Korea is undergoing some sort of conversion, we may not want to go there so quickly. What do you think of that?
I tend to agree. I would urge caution. They have been very deceptive. They're a brutal regime. One of these prisoners hadn't seen daylight in probably months. And we know that Otto Warmbier, the student who was released from North Korea, actually died when he came back to the United States. So we have to be really kind of eyes open, wide open about who we're dealing with. They've deceived the Clinton administration, the Bush administration. And I think President Trump and Mike Pompeo and Bolton, that team is a very good team. They're skeptical, which is a good thing to do when you go into these negotiations. So this is going to be, again, negotiating out of strength. And I think these sanctions actually have worked quite well. I think put Kim Jong-un in a position where now he knows he has to negotiate with us. But let's not fear to negotiate, but not negotiate out of fear, but also let's get a good deal, not a bad deal, like what we got with the Iran deal.
Yeah, well, the sanctions are working because the Chinese are going with it. I think we can agree on that.
I think the Chinese played a big role.
You mentioned the Iran deal. Overnight, this is a very serious matter. The Israelis hitting Iranian targets inside of Syria. They're going after Hezbollah as well. And when you think about the retaliation, the tit for tat, just over the past 36 hours now, you have suddenly a very insecure northern border in Israel between Lebanon and Syria. What is your thought on that now?
Well, I was over in Israel last fall, talked to Prime Minister Netanyahu. He warned us about Iran being the biggest threat to him, these rocket manufacturing plants in Lebanon and the Iron Dome. And now we know that Iran is able to penetrate that Iron Dome. They fired 20 missiles. Some of them actually got through the Iron Dome. Israel responded with a very strong retaliatory response against Iran in Syria. It's important to note that Iran is in Syria. They're in Iraq. Yeah, they're in Lebanon. And that's where they've taken the money from the sanctions.
Yeah, Michael McCaul, thank you for your time. Immediate reaction there on two major stories.
Thank
you, sir. Okay, thanks.